Hey there guys and girls, Archemedies here bringing you the first episode of my Bloodborne series. This is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be a playthrough, rather it's going to be something I'd like to call an ode to the bosses. This is going to be a series where I just give my general impressions on each boss, like where I feel they're inspired from, what I think of their movesets and their actions, how they look, how I feel that represents them, stuff like that. Just bear in mind, this is all just my opinion, how I feel about each boss. I'm going to be completely biased towards some bosses and completely biased against others, because some bosses I just don't like. Actually no, I can't think of any bosses I just don't like. There are some bosses which I dislike for certain things, but we'll save that till when I actually get to talking about them. Now this is the first boss in the game. I say first boss, but it's the first boss you're likely to fight. It's the Cleric Beast. You know, we saw him in all the free trailers, we saw him in all the trailers that were worth watching, and it's very likely he's going to be the first boss you fight in this game. I mean, as far as I know, he's actually completely optional. Like, I can't think of anything that would stop you from moving on without killing him. I mean, he does drop a very important badge for the build I'm doing, but what's important is that he doesn't have much lore to him, but he does have a few interesting points I'd like to discuss. First off is his location. His location is the Great Bridge, which that's the only name we ever get for it. We never get told where it goes or what's on the other side of that wall. Well, that's what I thought. But there is a note in a building nearby that kind of gives a little indication of where the bridge actually heads. When the hunt began, the Healing Church abandoned us, blocking the Great Bridge to the Cathedral Ward as they burned old Yarnum to the ground on that moonlit night. So what that tells me is that on the other side of this bridge is Cathedral Ward, the area that Healing Church have holed themselves up in and left everything to dead. Left everything to dead, nice one, Ark. They left everything behind and just blocked the bridge to Cathedral Ward. So that's what's on the other side of the bridge. Now that's important for a couple of reasons. First off is, Cathedral Ward is obviously the home of the Healing Church. And obviously we're about to fight a Cleric Beast. Now, Cleric implies church. And it's fairly well known at this point that the Healing Church does have a cleric, and that the Cleric Beast was one of those clerics who turned into a beast. That was a very roundabout explanation that didn't really go anywhere. So, I'm going to start the boss fight, and I'll start talking about the design of the Cleric Beast, its moveset, and how I genuinely feel about it. And he makes himself known. Now, the Cleric Beast, first thing I want to say is that he does look very cool. He's got this scraggly furrow over him that seems to just billow in the wind. What I want to talk about is his design choices, if that makes sense. And I did say I was going to talk about his inspiration. Now, I do believe that the Cleric Beast is very heavily inspired by the legend of something called the Wendigo, which is a piece of Native American folklore, native to the... I can't remember what tribe it's... I can't remember what tribe it's mainly focused on, but a lot of them held the same traditions. The Wendigo was said to be a creature that was very large. It had large clawed hands, very deadly. But one of its striking features was a pair of massive horns it bore atop its head. And as you can see, the Cleric Beast has those same horns. It's also said that the Wendigo fed on human flesh, and that it was very stealthy. Now this doesn't quite fit the stealthy part, but doesn't fit the stealth part, but it definitely fits the feeding upon human flesh. Now if I can remember to get a picture of the Wendigo and put it on the screen, I will. Very freely, if I remember to tell my editing guy to put a picture of the Wendigo on the screen, I will. Now let's get on to his movements, and the way he moves, the way he walks. He's very he skulks, is what I would say. He's very, very heavy, very fearsome, I guess. But the way he moves, I don't know, it looks like it transcribes pain to me, the way he moves. The way he just kind of fools around using that one big hand. That big hand that he's slapping you with. Now, Cleric Beast can be staggered by shooting him in the head, as you've just seen. You can then send this little attack on him. So yeah, he looks to me to be a very damaged creature, which fits with the description of being a cleric. Because if you can imagine being a cleric, a member of a holy order, transforming into this creature would not be high on your list of priorities. Now it's found in Old Yarnum, found in Central Yarnum, which I don't believe that's central to its lore or anything. Like I said, Cleric Beast doesn't have much lore behind it. The main thing I wanted to talk about really was the parallels between it and Wendigo. Now smaller details about it. If you can see, if I can get a good glimpse, I'll try and freeze frame that. It does actually seem to have nails embedded in its legs. See them for a split second there. I'll get the picture of that and freeze frame it. It does have nails embedded in its legs, which I'm not sure what that's meant to represent, but couldn't be anything fun. It has these weird eyes, like, not eyes, but growths on its head. I'm not quite sure what they represent, but once again, not anything good. Well, that may just be where I've ripped a chunk out of its face. What you saw there was the procedural damage system effect. I've now damaged his left arm to the point where it's actually bleeding profusely. Now you can see that whenever it moves, it's throwing blood off its arm. It's just not nice. Now, the way that works from a gameplay standpoint is that me attacking that arm will now do more damage. So that's useful design choice from me, exactly. Gotta love the procedural possibility. Now right arm damage. Now I do believe there's two stages to the damage of that right arm. One where, as you can see, it's only slightly damaged, but if I do enough damage to its right arm, it will actually lose the fur off it. Which is, you know, an interesting choice. As I've said, there's not much I can talk about for Cleric Beast. So I might just cut the rest of this boss fight out, keep killing it, and gaining the item that, you know, kind of confirmed it's a cleric. Now this badge is important because, if you go into the description and check it, it's a badge of the swordsman hunters under Church's blessing, which obviously ties the Cleric Beast to the church. Now it says here that the silver sword is the symbol of a church hunter, and that Ludwig was the first of many healing church hunters to come, many of whom were clerics. And as it was, clerics transformed into the most hideous beasts. And that's quite an explicit description of what the Cleric Beast actually was in its life, and, you know, how it transformed into what it is. So if that's what the Cleric Beast is and what I feel about it. The way I feel about it is, I don't know, I feel it's kind of not exactly generic, obviously. Nothing in this game is generic. But it's very much an introduction to the game. You know, it's a big heavy boss who attacks slowly. You can very easily defeat him by just staying behind him, which was shown in that fight. But, you know, healing church hunters transforming into a more deadly beast than most, that's an interesting concept. Yeah, I've inspired by the Wendigo used to be a church hunter. All in all, a very good boss fight. And the fact that it crawled over from Cathedral Ward is interesting, saying that, you know, there's obviously beasts, quite big beasts in Cathedral Ward. If things like that are just hopping over the wall, and perhaps this bridge isn't quite as sealed as it's meant to be. Okay, so I was originally planning to put 2 boss fights in this episode, both the Cleric Beast and Father Gascoigne, but now I decided that I want to keep these episodes short, you know, short and punchy. 1 boss per episode probably, unless they're very, very short boss fights. So, what I'm going to be doing is, I'm going to have this episode up as soon as possible, and I'm going to very quickly get to recording the Father Gascoigne episode, because I realised that, you know, the Cleric Beast didn't have much behind it, but look, Father Gascoigne does. He's got quite a bit of important storyline stuff. He's got his own little mini quest. He's got, you know, a few cool things that I want to talk about that I wouldn't really want to fit into a 20-minute episode alongside the Cleric Beast. So this is going to be the first episode of Bloodborne, an Ode to the Bosses. So, you know, if you like the video, then hit the like button, because, you know, it really helps me see whether you guys like this kind of stuff. Like, I'm taking quite a chance, because I'm not sure whether or not this is what you want, but I decided, you know, it would be a cool thing to do. So if you did like the video, hit the like button. You want to see more of this series, especially Father Gascoigne episode I'm going to be uploading soon, then subscribe, and yeah, you'll get a notification when I upload. So yeah, if you like that, then, you know, keep on trucking. This is Archemedies signing off on the first episode of Bloodborne, an Ode to the Bosses. And, as always, stay jammy.